Greetings, collectors, followers and friends. Tom Hughes here, some more thoughts on painting. We're on, I should say, the Mumbles in Swansea. Lovely day, sun's out, tide's out, which, by the looks of things, is going to create a rather nice composition. I kind of wish I brought my skateboard. I used to skate up and down here quite a lot when I lived here. What are we going to paint? I think I'm going to give it a go looking out towards the lighthouse, towards Bracelet Bay. I prefer that than looking back at town. And there's Port Talbot over there, the steelworks. Yeah, I think we'll give this a crack.
We've got the pilot cutters practicing for this weekend's racing out there, which is very unusual.
Oh, right.
See these boats?
Yeah.
They're specialists. They used to be the boats that used to race to take the pilots out to catch the
Oh, okay.
boats coming up the channel.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, so it's an ancient cross. They brought them pilot to Swansea together for the weekend's racing.
Right.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Yeah. Lovely afternoon. But again, it's one of those things where nice view, it doesn't make a painting. Not really. It's a panorama, isn't it? So we'll keep looking. Again, sort of same story up here. Lovely view, but still not a painting. The hunt continues. Right then, so we're in Bracelet Bay now. I think that's a painting, the lighthouse. 8 by 10 I reckon. Let's give it a whirl. Okay, I think no, need something else. You know, this sort of end process, I mean, it can just go on and on and on if you're not careful. But you know, sometimes the tiniest mark does make a painting look better, so it's sometimes worth just having a go. A few little dabs. Okay, I'm going to stop, definitely. Let's sign it. There we go. Bracelet Bay and the lighthouse. Oh, hang on. No. I haven't put any clouds in. Okay, definitely finished now. Well, good morning. We're out on the Gower today. Can you guess where we are? You probably can from the video title. We're out at Three Cliffs Bay at Pennard. Just wandered into a golf course. This is I'd say it's probably one of the most sort of picturesque beaches out on the Gower. I'm going to try and get up onto the top of the cliffs and see if there's a good view. Maybe go down onto the beach itself and paint back. Oh, that's rather nice. We go up to the top, have a look, see if there's a painting there. So I'm quite taken with this, but it's a shame the tip of that cliff sticking out doesn't go above the far horizon. Nature doesn't always line up the way you'd like it to, but I'm going to walk up to the top of there, see if it looks better. So why do they call it Three Cliffs? Well, can you guess? That's right, there's three cliffs. Three little points. Quite nice here, isn't it? It's one reason I like living in Bristol. Obviously we're in Wales, but point is, Bristol, you know, this is an hour and 45 minutes from my house, and Cornwall's 2 hours away, 2.5, and London's 2.5. So it's sort of like a hub. Bristol's kind of like a hub place where you've got sort of access to a lot of good stuff. I might go back to the previous spot, which is more sheltered than this. It's a bit windy up here, but it looks good, doesn't it? So I've decided to actually paint the three cliffs themselves. The sun's going to swing round, and the way they're lit at the moment from the side, I think it's quite nice. They're going to be lit from behind in 2 hours or so, so I think I might save that view for later, if at all. Tempting to do this and then go down onto the beach actually, then do a wide one. Let's give it a shot. So it's time for the thoughts on painting. I wanted to talk this episode about the value I see in developing skill and technical knowledge. So because I do everything from life, and I want to capture the day, I want to capture the atmosphere and recreate reality. It's very crucial that I learn how to mix accurate colours and judge tones well and draw accurately. So I place a high value on technical skill. To me, the more knowledge you have, the more you learn, the more you develop your level of skill. I sort of see it as increasing your vocabulary as with language. So you don't have to use all the words, but the more words you have at your disposal, the more eloquent you can be. So in 2012, I wanted to move away from illustration and learn sort of from scratch how to paint. All the artists I sort of admired the most seemed to paint predominantly from life, or at least did the majority of their work from life. And I thought, well, there must be something in it if their work looks like that, and I want mine to have a similar impact. I'm going to have to do what they do, which is work from life. So, first day I went to Gloucester Docks, and I brought the paintings with me. So this is my first ever plein air painting. This actually burnt down last year, which is very sad. It's a really interesting building. Now obviously there's a huge amount wrong with this, but I had a wonderful time painting it. It was incredibly exciting. I'd never painted outside with oils, and actually tonally I don't think it's too bad, but you've got these, the sky is, this is like titanium white from the tube, just sort of splattered on everywhere. So it's very sort of crudely rendered, but it's got some sort of character to it. I'm always going to keep this. I've got some more to show you. Look at that. So that's it's quite embarrassing showing these, but I wanted to make a point about when you do work from life and you do it regularly and consistently, your skill level can increase quite quickly. If you're really focused on sort of asking questions about why previous paintings went wrong, that's always a good thing. So if you've got an image in your head of what you want it to look like, and for me that was quite easy because I wanted it to look like the thing I was looking at, so you can sort of cast your eye between the painting and the scene, and after a while you begin to notice what's wrong, sort of squinting down to see tones and stuff. So it's just so bad, that painting. No redeeming features there. Look at this one. So you hear things, don't you, about aerial perspective and distant hills looking blue, and people talk about things like that. So this is a classic case, I think. This is all within like the first month of doing plein air. This is a classic case of applying rules that I had heard without really understanding what they were. So you've got this sort of luminescent blue hill in the background, and this sickly luminescent green grass. These are cows. I don't know if you'd be able to work that out yet, but they are. Nice lovely little gate down here. This is a town, like a village, and the sky. Look at these yellows in the sky. So yeah, there we go. There's these 3 paintings from my first month. So and here's one from last month, which you probably saw in a previous episode. So you can see the sort of the difference between them is in it's not a great shift from this green to that green. There's just more brown in this, and it's more muted, and I've observed the scene better when I was painting it, but you know, you'd still identify that as green. People say green's a hard colour to paint, but I think I think maybe people in their head, it's always more saturated than it actually is in reality. So that would be maybe an example of that phenomena. And certainly as green appears on distant hills, you know, it becomes less saturated and more blue. But you know, this is a bit over the top. Now, I mean, some people do paint with incredibly saturated colours deliberately, and it's not an error, and it can work incredibly well and look beautiful. But again, you need a certain level of skill and practice to get to that stage, to understand how to use highly saturated colours. So yeah, so I just wanted to show really the development, and that, you know, we all start somewhere, and it's very easy when you begin when you're at this stage, to get so frustrated that it's not looking how you want it to look. And the only way to get past that is repetition. And like I said before, I think asking questions, you know, why doesn't it look bright? And then keep looking, and then think, okay, well, if that green's too bright, then how do I make it less bright? You know, then you find out you can add a bit of brown to it maybe, or something like that. So as long as you're inquisitive and can hold back the frustration and think about it more analytically, and say, and just try and calm down and think how you're going to progress through, rather than thinking, oh, I can't paint. I would say, if this graph is time and this axis is technical competence, it's not a gradual linear path towards mastery, which would be the end point that you would be aiming for. It sort of goes like this. You sort of you know, it's all over the place. You have breakthroughs. It isn't some steady progression really, and sometimes it can feel you're even going backwards. You know, time can go along and skill can feel like it's going down sometimes. One thing I would say would be the times that I've felt like I was stepping out of my comfort zone and doing things that I found incredibly difficult are the times when I made the most progress, even if I went home that day feeling really dejected. It was a disaster, I couldn't do it, the painting was rubbish. The initial feeling is one of failure, but actually you store all that, and the next time you go out you remember all those, you know, those cock-ups, and I think you sort of start to circumnavigate around them, and you remember the mistake you made before. And obviously you do repeat mistakes, but the more I tried things that I thought I couldn't paint, and the more I painted out of my comfort zone, the faster I learn, definitely. So I think if you want to get better, I would certainly advise not just doing things that you know you can already do, that nothing's going to happen, you're not going to learn anything. So that first sort of 6 to 9 months for me were really, really tough as far as mentally. But I was so excited by it all, and so excited every time I learned something new that I had a huge amount of energy to get through it. A lot of people say to me, I don't want to paint outside because I'm so shy, I don't want people looking at my work. Well, somewhere like this is quite good actually, because you could find a sand dune or somewhere sheltered where no one's really going to come up to you. City centres are not particularly good places to paint if you're shy. There's people everywhere. Yeah, so this working from life thing, just going back to that, I think when people tend to use, maybe when they start out painting, they tend to use photography sort of as a shortcut. I think they see it as a shortcut to looking at how the world looks, but there's so much limitations from working just with photographic reference compared to being outside that in the end I don't think it is a shortcut. I think you're extending the time, the learning process. I actually think working exclusively from life, initially at least for a number of years, I think that's actually the shortcut. I think it's the other way around. But again, you have to be humble enough, I think, to swallow the defeats, because they are numerous and they are ego bruising and they're quite unpleasant. I remember I used to work in an art shop and I met a guy came in and he told me he used to get so frustrated. He used to paint by the river, and he said he kicked his whole easel into the river, and he used to put his foot through canvases and like throw them over hedges and stuff, and smash his easel up. And I've never done that. I've snapped paintings in half, certainly, but I've never thrown anything into a river. There's always a first time. So, yeah. I hope that was interesting and of some help. So yeah, I mean, we all start at zero, and you've just got to climb up. There's no sort of easy way of getting there, but what is it they say? Mastery takes 10,000 hours. So that's all you got to do. You just got to paint for 10,000 hours. It's not much, is it? And I know people don't have the time. Time is limited. People have full-time jobs and families and all sorts of commitments. But like anything, it's just repetition, practice, and sort of a logical analysis of your own flaws and weaknesses, and then working on those. Yeah. So that's it. Get out there. Come here. It's lovely. This is a pretty cool spot. Changed my mind again, of course. I like seeing the hole straight through the three cliffs, so I'm going to paint here, I think. So the memory stick is close to running out, so I didn't record this one. But There you go, that gives you an idea of it. Oh, thank you. So here at Rhossili, quite hazy today. Looking down towards Llangennith from here. It's a bit hazy. I think I'm going to go and have a look at Worm's Head, which I'm sure will be hazy too, but let's go and check it out. So it's a long ways out there, but I think that's the one I'm going to do. Very hazy. It's Llangennith again. Camped in those sand dunes years ago. Only got 25 minutes left on the memory stick, so I'm going to have to record this in bursts.
Well, you must have a similar course today.
When you knock it over.